I looked so innocent, but I already had ambition. I was born to be wicked. That's how it felt.
You must feel unsettled here. Changing your surroundings and giving up your independence.
We grow old. We grow old and people despise us. In the mornings, we'd stroll along the boulevards as bright as sparrows. Let them seduce me. Let them remember, just for a moment, how good it felt to be alive. I danced the night away and took as many lovers as my heart desired. I was free.
Hi and welcome to the Soho London Independent Film Festival. I'm Liz Farah-Hardy and I'm really delighted to be joined today by Cameron and Andy.
Hi.
Who have come with their lovely, really beautiful film, The Other Woman. So absolutely love this. What a gorgeous story.
Thank you.
Cameron, would you be able to tell us just a little bit about it, please, for all, without giving anything away? But
It's a complicated story, really. It's complicated to say, but it's a narrative that I adapted from a Miles Gibson short story called Maisie, Can You Hear Me? So I adapted the screenplay, and it's, I mean, when we shot it during COVID, then we did our edits post that. It was quite a poignant time because of how a lot of elderly people weren't able to make contact with a lot of people. So with the external, what was happening outside, and also the writing of the screenplay, I felt quite connected with it. So it's really a story of reflection and it's about being hopeful for lives that you could live and different avenues it could take, really.
yeah.
And I think it was particularly poignant at that time, you know, when everyone had been locked up for so long, to film such a beautiful film in such a beautiful location as well. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
It was very powerful.
And you directed this?
I did, yes.
Yes, and this is your first narrative that you've directed?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so how was that?
Yeah, I was a student when I first started shooting the film. I was a student at Coventry University, which I did it through a college. So it was a split sort of like top up degree. So I was coming at it from an avenue of complete independent filmmaking. So there wasn't any backing from the school or anything like that. So I just went out and wanted to make a film, and we didn't have any backing from any funding sources or anything like that. It's just a project a story I wanted to tell and bring to the screen. And yeah, I got to, work with some really amazing people that I was very privileged to work with. Yeah, and we made a project in some very hard circumstances at the time, and yeah, it was a great experience to learn a lot with, but there was also quite a lot of challenges there as well, where we had from completely just sold back in independent in the film.
So what were some of the challenges?
Well, during COVID, when we shot it, it was a challenging time because obviously there was so little that a lot of people could actually make, and was very fortunate that the time frames of filming at the time, we just managed to get our film shot about a couple of weeks before they just had no complete lockdown.
Right.
So yeah, we got in there probably about a week or two before that happened.
Wow.
So yeah, we was trying to. Yeah, and it was so interesting, isn't it? Because it was like as the first lockdown had come to an end. So there was this bubble of creation, where people were allowed to just do these powerful projects. And I remember, and you said it was a close call thing because, the next lockdown was pretty soon afterwards. So.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just had a small team of people because we tried to have a small crew and make what we could with the time and book locations that we could find online, and because I was producing it as well as directing, I did everything pretty much myself. So it was a lot of responsibility to take on.
That is a lot.
Probably won't do it again, but it was a lot. There was a lot of things I learned through that process.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And how did you find the rest of the team? Because you had a pretty impressive team, didn't
Thank
you?
you. Yeah, it was a great experience to work with, so many creative people, and the way that I sort of try and take on projects, especially now, is just try and see everyone as a creative vision, and they bring what they can to a project, as opposed to just directing and saying this is what you have to do. It was such a amazing experience to work with Sophie. And
So for people watching, that's Sophie Colquhoun?
Sophie Cahoon, yeah.
Cahoon, sorry.
Yeah.
And so how did you meet Sophie?
So it was solely through the casting process, and I mean, I've worked with a group of actors that I always sort of work with now, and we've built relationships with. But the role of Maisie was a very complicated character, and one that really needed the right person for. So it was something that I didn't really want to take it down the general audition route. So I did I went through a process of sending out scripts, and I sent it to Sophie's management team, Independent Talent, and it was a difficult time because it was like, I was writing drafts of the script, and I didn't really feel like it was at a level that, once I've already sent it, I didn't feel it was at a level that really should be going out there. But it was a couple of weeks that I was like, yes, she's not going to get back, and all those things that you start thinking about. But luckily, she came back and she was interested, and so she came on the project, and from the outset we worked quite a lot in pre-production. So I sort of sent her films to watch, we talked a lot about her role, and we also, it was a very collaborative process, and that's one that I tried to get across during the whole filmmaking process. And I let Sophie really have quite a lot of free rein on her role. And she wrote some parts of the script as well, where I wrote the script, but then she sort of added and adapted certain bits. So she really did bring a lot into it.
She was absolutely amazing.
Oh, and she's fabulous.
Also, like when we did the Zoom rehearsals at the very beginning, and how that creative process during lockdown before the filming, and I think we all gelled pretty well.
That's
and it was just
nice.
such a nice cohesive feling, and she was just such a joy to work with as well.
Oh. So Andy, how did you get involved in the project?
Well, I did, I auditioned for Cameron, and it was really just, it was really kind of Sophie and his project. It was such a special project, and it was so powerful the way she brought across the character so well, which is very current to nowadays and age and people's aspirations and past lives and how we deal with people as they get older. So I think that's truly profound, particularly now. And so when I was asked to be really in her dreams, in her flashbacks of her past life as a youngster, and the relationship she had, and it was just an honor to be in that part. I didn't have a sort of speaking role in it, but just to have that moment to be in such a beautiful film, and obviously the flashbacks are such an integral part of the film.
Yeah.
And it was the most beautiful sunny day, wasn't it, where we filmed it?
And the filming gods were with you.
Yeah. And
we had to get back from one of the locations.
Yeah, and it was a stunning, and we were all there on the beach, and you realise that some of us hadn't been on the beach for quite a long time, so we all needed that moment just to be. And then the camera rolled, and it was just a really fun experience. And she was a joy to work with, I have to say. And you were amazing.
Thank you.
You made us feel so kind of at home, and so it was a very cohesive feeling. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm very sort of fond of the acting process, and I try and allow all the collaborators to bring onto it what they can, and I think everyone's done a fantastic job, and it was great to work with all these people. But,
isn't it?
Yeah.
So lovely. I mean, that's such a nice thing to hear, a director allowing actors to really be able to find their role. I mean, what's your biggest takeaway from this?
It's been a very insightful process from the start. I mean, because I was quite young when I started the process, and we worked on our editing with Phil, and we had a longer cut before. So I'd say that the biggest thing would be for a short film was to keep it short.
Yeah.
And I think when we made those edits and we cut it down, and now it's got this 16-minute film. I think it's got an impact now, and it works a lot better.
It is the biggest mistake filmmakers make. I mean, obviously we watch a lot of films, and so often you think that would have been brilliant, but half of it isn't necessary, and it gets lost. That's really good bit of advice to give people.
I mean, I think it's having that. It's maybe sort of what was really useful for me is we with COVID, and we wasn't able to show the film out, and we made that decision to then sort of take a step back from it. I think that was a very it was very useful decision to make, I think, because if we would have gone and shown it now, it wouldn't have had as wide a reach as we've got now, and also having that time away from it, we could sort of say, look, we could rewatch it with a new set of eyes and really sort of take out what we didn't really feel was important.
Yeah.
And I think you did such a great job as well with the trailer and everything, how with the short films they have to pack quite a punch quite quickly, and I think you did a great job.
Thank you.
With that. And the whole point, the wonderful thing about film festivals, and is we actually get to sort of see each other. That's the whole point of it. And when you're kind of not able to see people because of COVID, that's
well, that leads me to the next question. What is so important about film festivals?
Well, I think getting work out there. It's great to show the films that you've made that we've watched so many times over and over again, and I worked extensively with Phil, the editor, and taking it out of what we've all watched it, and we don't really know anymore. We're not as objective as we should be. So it's nice to see general audiences, but also people from the film industry and television as well coming to these type of events and just taking an interest in the work that we do, because with short films particularly, there's not entirely a marketable area for them, and it wouldn't be for festivals like this that you wouldn't have the ability to show the work that you've made. So it's very important, especially for short films.
Amazing. And what's the audience that you would like this to reach?
Well, I think it's a film that can really touch a lot of different audiences, I think. But I think it's got that sort of connection where perhaps maybe sort of like a middle-aged or elderly audience could sort of take a lot more from it and connect with it more, because obviously the character, you've got that split between the young and the old character with one person. But I think it's a film that a lot of people can connect with. Obviously we've got Joe. You've got James, who's played by Joe Snape in the film, and and he's a young trainee. I think there is different perspectives that a lot of different people can take away from that. And
also in his character, the compassion he actually had towards Maisie was truly profound. And it's just on a little side thing. When before filming, I was reading through the script with my mum in Battersea, and we were having a coffee. And she was just so moved by it. She just burst into tears. And I thought, and she's a writer herself.
Right.
So she was like, oh my God. And I thought, this is powerful. I said, are you okay, Mum? Can I get you another coffee? And she was sort of, oh God. So that's a good sign.
That's a very good sign.
That it touches at something so palpably deep, which is perhaps what we're losing touch with nowadays.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's so easy, isn't it, to forget when somebody is older, to forget that they've had a life and quite a life, a lot of them.
And if you see someone sad at a tube station, just say, hey, you're all right. It's just, am I right? It just gives all those different messages.
Absolutely, I think sort of it plays on that sort of human connection, isn't it? And just having life and viewing life in different ways that you wouldn't, you taking it at face value, you probably wouldn't see these characters that you see. If you saw Maisie out in the street, you'd say, you'd have preconceived ideas of the person that she was or lived. So having that, and I think it's just it's a film about.
And also, the flashbacks thing, just reminding that, everybody, whatever age you are, we've all had aspirations, dreams, hopes, and that so many people have had remarkable journeys, and maybe that's forgotten about. So, and that's the wonderful thing about film, isn't it? You get to just get so immersed in other characters and life.
Amazing. Oh, well, listen, you've got to see this. It's a beautiful film. It's called The Other Woman, and the festival starts on the 25th of January and it goes through until the 28th of January. So really, really recommend this beautiful film. And guys, thank you so
Thanks so much for having us.
Really, it's wonderful to meet you both, and it's just very exciting that we're going to have you as part of the festival.
Yeah.